Hit Rose Top Dolla, one of WWE SmackDown's newest additions, recently addressed fans who want to see a match between him and Roman Reigns. Both superstars are currently part of the Blue brand. The Hit Row member has previously expressed interest in facing Reigns and even directly stated to the Universal Champion that he could take one hell of a spear. Speaking on his Jobbing Out podcast, Top Dolla, real name AJ Francis, brought up social media comments that declared he would surely lose to the Tribal Chief in a dream match between them. The 31-year-old said he is looking forward to that moment, questioning whether or not WWE fans who made those comments understand how the business works. People on the internet, be like, I want to see Top Dolla versus Roman Reigns. Then people will be like, yeah, but they're gonna job him out. They're gonna job him. I'm like, bro, I'll job for Roman Reigns. What the hell? Do you understand this business? Said Top Dolla. The Hit Row member also explained that just being in the ring with Reigns is a win for superstars. After all, the island of relevancy is not just a throwaway term. It's been proven that any mid-card talent who steps up to the Tribal Chief gets a chance to shine under WWE's main event spotlight briefly. Let's be 100% honest here. If you're in the ring with Roman Reigns, you're winning. Even if you're not winning, you're winning because you're in the ring with Roman Reigns, stated Top Dolla. Earlier this month, Top Dolla took to Twitter to highlight the unscripted nature of Hit Row's WWE promos. One can only imagine what would happen when they cross paths with Reigns, who's been unscripted for a while now as well. On Friday Night SmackDown, Charlotte Flair faced and defeated Shotzi after the two had an incredible match. In the aftermath of the match, the SmackDown Women's Champion had some harsh words for her rival Sasha Banks, who got involved in the match between the pair. While speaking to Kayla Braxton backstage, Charlotte Flair complimented her opponent and stated that she was amazing on the night. As per Flair, Shotzi gave her one hell of a match, but the Queen finished her off when it was time to. Charlotte Flair also spoke about the incident that occurred with Banks after the match. Following interference from the boss, Flair went on to call Banks selfish and vague and only wanted to steal the spotlight. You know, Shotzi gave me one hell of a match tonight and she hung in there, as long as she could, and then it was time to finish her off. And then what happened? Sasha Banks wanted to steal the spotlight. Of course, why was she even ringside? She wasn't there to help Shotzi. No, she's selfish. During the WWE Draft 2021, Shotzi and her tag team partner Tegan Nox went different ways. The former NXT Women's Tag Team has been a part of the Blue brand for a while now, and now that Shotzi is finally a heel, WWE could push her as a top star in the singles division moving forward. Charlotte Flair was recently drafted into SmackDown as part of the 2021 WWE Draft. On the 22nd of October, in an episode of SmackDown, Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch exchanged their respective titles, and as a result, Flair became the current SmackDown Women's Champion, whereas the man became the new Raw Women's Champion. The title exchange didn't go according to plan and Flair received a lot of backstage heat after going off script. She even had a confrontation with Lynch backstage and Sonya Deville wasn't particularly impressed with Flair following the incident last week. But Charlotte Flair was back on this week's episode of SmackDown and is already looking forward to her feud with Sasha Banks. Charlotte Flair has finally reacted to the latest string of rumors about her and took a shot at fans who believed in them. Charlotte Flair recently made news after her awkward championship exchange segment on last week's WWE SmackDown. Flair reportedly didn't follow the script and later had a heated confrontation with Becky Lynch backstage. Shortly after, several more rumors about the Queen began making rounds on social media. Charlotte Flair was silent all this while, but has now finally reacted to reports that have come out about her over the past week or so. Flair seemingly took a shot at fans who believed those rumors, hinting that none of them are true. Charlotte Flair is one of the most successful female stars in WWE history. Earlier this year, WWE placed her in second position on its list of the 50 greatest women superstars, behind Trish Stratus. Charlotte Flair has enjoyed major success for the better part of her 6-year main roster run, and is currently a 14-time women's champion across Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Flair has been criticized by fans for constantly taking up the spotlight at the expense of fellow top stars and future stars as well. Flair's wins over the likes of Asuka and Rhea Ripley were heavily bashed by the WWE Universe. On last week's SmackDown, Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch were involved in a championship exchange segment that didn't go as planned. Following the segment, the two former best friends reportedly engaged in a confrontation backstage. More details emerged about the incident via the rumor mill, with one outlet stating that no female star wanted to work with Flair. Another stated that WWE was in a tricky situation in regards to possibly punishing Flair after the Becky Lynch incident. Rumors also suggested that Flair was escorted out of the arena following her confrontation with Lynch. Things escalated soon after, when there was another report that said that Sonya Deville was ready to fight the Queen after what happened during her segment with Lynch. In the aftermath of the incident, WWE even edited out the controversial portion of the championship exchange segment, silencing those who called the entire fiasco a work. Later, the company even pulled her from upcoming media appearances. Drew McIntyre has revealed his plans, which will inevitably get him a title match against Universal Champion Roman Reigns. Following his dominant victory over Mustafa Ali on SmackDown this week, the former WWE champion stated that he plans to work to the top by defeating the entire roster of the Blue brand before challenging Roman Reigns. The Scottish Warrior assured the fans that he would do whatever it takes to get that match against Roman Reigns. It came out of necessity. Brock and Roman were tearing up the show, things were going off the rails, and I saw the opportunity since I wasn't booked in a match to make an impact, to take my place on SmackDown, to make an open challenge, to give them a hell of a match. And then this week I thought, well, that was pretty cool last week. Maybe look well again since I don't technically have a match, make an open challenge, and I will continue to do it for, think it's about 28 to 29 guys on the SmackDown roster, the next 28 to 29 weeks. I'll beat everybody. Starting from the bottom, working to the top, like I said last week. I will inevitably get that title match with the big dog, with the head of the table, whatever name he's going by these days. Whatever I have to do, I'm a patient man, but it's gonna happen, said Drew McIntyre. Roman Reigns has been absolutely unstoppable ever since winning the Universal Championship last year. His title reign has gone past the 400-day mark, and he is closing in on breaking Brock Lesnar's record of the longest Universal Championship reign, 504 days, which reportedly is also the plan. Over the last 400-plus days, Roman Reigns has defeated several top WWE superstars, legends, and Hall of Famers. The biggest question now is who could be the one to finally dethrone the Tribal Chief. Well, Drew McIntyre is one of the very few believable choices that WWE has. Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre had a blockbuster champion versus champion match at WWE Survivor Series 2020. The two took each other to the limit before Reigns picked up the victory with his heel tactics. Fans and critics loved their match and the mini rivalry and can't wait to see a full-blown feud between the two. Since getting drafted to SmackDown earlier this month, McIntyre has made it very clear that he is coming for Roman Reigns. It remains to be seen when WWE finally pulls the trigger on this feud between their two biggest superstars currently. Paul Heyman was part of the in-ring action during tonight's post-SmackDown Dark match. He is currently the special counsel to Universal Champion Roman Reigns on the Blue brand. Reigns is the leader of the Bloodline, along with the Usos and Heyman. The latter is the mouthpiece of the faction and always makes it a point to stay away from harm's way. He decided to spice things up after tonight's SmackDown went off the air and stepped into the ring to a loud pop. The Dark match following SmackDown pitted Roman Reigns and the Usos against Drew McIntyre and the Street Profits. At one point during the bout, Heyman proceeded to step into the ring as fans in attendance chanted ECW. Unfortunately, his leg got caught up in the ring ropes while he was attempting to get inside. He fell down in the ring and was beaten up by Montez before Jimmy intervened and saved him. Paul Heyman is currently 56 years old. He has mostly played the role of a managerial figure on WWE TV, but has occasionally stepped into the squared circle as well. His first ever match in Vince McMahon's promotion took place way back in 2002. Heyman and a young Brock Lesnar teamed up to defeat the Hardy Boys at Judgment Day 2002. Paul Heyman engaged in a memorable feud with his former client CM Punk in 2013. During the feud, Punk defeated him and Curtis Axel in 8 consecutive handicap matches at WWE live events. Heyman's final match was a draw against current AEW star Chris Jericho. The contest took place on the December 15, 2014 edition of Raw. Paul Heyman will go down as one of the greatest talkers in the history of this business. He will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame as well, somewhere down the line. It's safe to say, though, that he won't be mentioning his in-ring accomplishments while making his speech. Tonight, Heyman learned the hard way that it's better for him to steer clear of the action that happens in the ring.